Hello, my name is Paul Callan and this is MotorZen Media. Story from Toyota GB. Very unusual story. Took a bit of time to understand what's going on, what they're trying to do here. But it's Toyota GB are going to use one of their factories in the UK to refurbish cars. And I can hear everybody out there going, hold on a second, that's my job. Well, what they're saying is, they're going to bring cars back, that the tradition of changing a car at 2 to 3 years, they're happy that that's going to be the norm, but they're going to bring that car back to the factory when it's 2 to 3 years old and they're going to refurbish it. They're saying one of the reasons to do this is that they want to increase the contact time with the customers up to 10 years. So you can see there's a little bit of a change taking place here. Traditionally, we in the aftermarket usually start to see the car at 3 to 4 years, and we'd have a relationship with the customer then for the rest of the life of the car. Now, what Toyota are saying is that part of the reason for this is that they're going to avoid waste, reducing the environmental impact, so their impact. So you can see that that's the angle they're coming from it. But when I dug a little bit deeper into this story, I'm thinking, well, you start to discover that their new electric vehicles, because Toyota are going full electric, and their new electric vehicles coming out in the mid-22s has got a new battery that's 71.4 kilowatt battery. But the claim Toyota are making on that battery is that that battery is going to have 90% capacity after 10 years. So if you think about this, and this is kind of a question out, I'm still not clear, because I think Renault are talking about this same idea in a factory in France as well. Is it the case that the manufacturer is now saying, hold on a second here, we've got a motor and we've got a battery that doesn't really give any trouble. We're going to bring the cars back in at 2 to 3 years. We're going to refurb them and we're going to send them back out again. We're going to keep a relationship with that car for now much longer. This appears to be some of their strategy. Knowing that you don't have the complexities and the difficulties and the technicalities of engines, gearboxes, clutches, timing belts, none of that stuff is there anymore. So a whole lot of complexity has been taken out of this. So something for us in the independent sector to keep a very close eye on. Another story from Toyota, which goes to show you the type of different activities that are going on all within the same company, and how different ends of the industry is today. In Japan this week, Toyota had a performance showcase, and at that event they showed a new GR Yaris. Anyone that's interested in the performance end of stuff knows that the GR Yaris has been very highly acclaimed as a compact, high performance, 4-wheel drive, 1.6 3-cylinder high performance car. Well, they've brought out a new, more high performance, higher performance. They're calling it a GR-MN, and I don't think MN stands for Monaghan. I don't know what it stands for, but it's not a Monaghan reg. And they're saying less weight, bigger brakes, lower and wider. So something that was a very capable car already has just become more capable, but they're saying there's going to be a very small production on only 500. We're going into Grassmen territory here now. John Deere, it's a story I've been following for a while. John Deere in America are having what they call a class action lawsuit taken out against them. There's a group of farmers are coming together to take them to court effectively on alleged tractor repair monopoly. So interesting one for us, because you know some of the stuff we're facing in the car side of things as well is the manufacturer controls all this software to control access to the car. So this court case is going to go on in America now soon, claiming that farmers are being locked out of maintaining and servicing their own tractor for years and forever and a day. The farmers in their own area with their own guys or the local workshop. You know, in America, keeping in mind that they're long distances from maybe an authorised John Deere service centre, so they were servicing and maintaining these tractors themselves, and now they're finding they can't do that, it's becoming impossible to do that. As a consequence of that, there's been a boom in the sale of older tractors in America. So the guys are resorting back to running older plant that they can maintain themselves. So this is going to be an interesting story to follow because it applies to everything we do now about this. Now also, with the same situation in mind, President Biden has introduced legislation last year. It's going through Congress at the moment, but even before it's gone through, Microsoft and Apple are already backing off some of these monopoly practices, because it's been brought out, there's been actions against these companies and these other organisations prior to this, so it seems to be an ongoing thing, but it's going to be an interesting one for us to watch now, how this progresses through the court in America with John Deere. Story from Audi. Audi have said that they will make a decision by April as to whether or not they're going to commit to Formula One, and one of the preconditions to them committing to Formula One is that Formula One must commit to the use of synthetic fuel for new regulations for 2026. So that's what Audi's saying. If you guys go with synthetic fuel, we'll go with you. We'll commit to to Formula One for 2026. Now, the synthetic fuels are zero greenhouse gas emissions. But when I've been looking at this story all along, I was also very conscious that the same story, which the same people, the same company, has been coming out from Porsche. And Porsche really, at the end of the day, are kind of saying, we need to stay with engines because that's why people have Porsches. So there's a two-edged sword here, because it has been, the Porsche name has been connected with F1, but it looks to be like they're going to go with Audi on it now. But then I was saying, wow, it's going to be really, really expensive to produce this fuel, which is possibly only for motorsport. But they're also suggesting that this fuel will be used in aircraft and large ships. So aircraft, large ships and racing cars. So maybe it's a case that we'll be using, the only way we'll be able to run cars in Mandela was with synthetic fuel. So that's just something to watch as time goes on. But it's going to be interesting to see if the FIA commit to this in order to get Audi on board. Another story coming from Germany. A German teenager has hacked into Teslas. This young guy in Germany has discovered that there's some open source platform on Teslas. He's managed to hack into the chief technical officer's car at Tesla. Through this, he's been able to say where the car has been, where it is, open the doors, disable security features. It sounds like he's just in there on a diagnostic platform like we have been on a workshop, but the car could be the other side of the world. So kind of a scary story on one hand, but he's cooperating with Tesla. He's cooperating. He hasn't been malicious with it in any way. He's just saying to them, look guys, I've managed to communicate with your cars on the other side of the world. So it goes to show you the type of issues facing manufacturers, and this is where manufacturers are also using this against the independent sector, because they're saying, oh, we can't let the independent sector have access to our vehicles because we could run into situations like this. So this is a real life example of the software being accessed in an incorrect way. BMW, while working on their EV development, are saying that many automakers won't be ready to go full EV by 2030. So BMW are still going to build some new engines, and one that I was blown away with because I thought we'd never see them again, but what they're saying is the new generation M5 model code is going to be G90. It's due for release in 2024, and it's going to be plug-in hybrid, but it's going to be plug-in hybrid on a V8. So again, strange things happening there, because so many people are saying that people like Volvo are saying we're full electric by 2024. BMW are saying we're bringing out a new V8 in 2024, albeit that it's plug-in hybrid. But just goes to show you the different strategies and different lines that have been taken by different manufacturers out there in the industry at the moment. Just some figures on the sales of EVs and who are the biggest sellers, or the sales chart for EVs from the UK market. Obviously, we all know that the number one, you're going to have Tesla there at 33.7%. Coming in, and not that far behind them, is Nissan at 21.45%. Volkswagen's in at 9.47%, Renault's in at 9.19%. But the interesting one there is MG. MG's coming in there at 6.69%, and that's the Chinese brand. So we're seeing the Chinese now starting to take a significant position there on electric vehicles, and there's a lot more brands going to start coming out of China very soon, so we're going to be watching the space for the Chinese very closely. Another story there now is as well is that ALD, which is a French owned by a lease company owned by a French bank, they've just bought LeasePlan, and LeasePlan being one of the world's largest lease companies. But ALD have been in Ireland since 2017. They bought Marion Fleet back in 2017. So now the two biggest names that we probably had in the lease, and a lot of the garage guys know these brands because they've been doing work for them, LeasePlan and Marion Fleet. But both of those big names now are owned by the one company, they're owned by ALD. So a little bit less competition there in the lease market in Ireland. Delphi Technologies. Delphi Technologies is a very, very good online training platform, and you can do practical training with them. I think it's mainly in the UK, but I know some guys here in Ireland who've put some effort into their online platform and are impressed by it. But if you do any training with Delphi Technologies now, you will achieve CPD points through the IMI Institute of Motor Industry. So that's an interesting development now. All the work you do, any achievements you have on their training platforms is recorded as continual professional development on your record. Another story is a sad one in a way, because so many people will have a link in the industry to a Volkswagen Passat. You know, a staple of the industry, a staple of the day-to-day, a staple of all our times in workshops and stuff like that. The Passat is coming to an end. The production of Passat Saloon is ending, the Passat Saloon. But they're going to continue on with the Passat Estate. But I know everyone's wondering why would they do that? I know a statistic there exists. I think that 70% of Passats in Germany are estate. Passats are far more popular in Germany than they are here in Ireland. So they're continuing with the estate, ceasing production of the saloon. I think the new replacement is going to be, they're calling it an Aero 8. It's going to be an all-electric saloon. So there is a saloon coming, but they're not going to continue with the Passat name anyway in a saloon. Mondeo also ends in March. So these type of traditional cars that have been with us for such a long time are all been phased out right now. Another story which is a bit of a strange one when I was reading it was that Hankook Tyres presented an airless tyre to a Hyundai during the week, and I was thinking, what's the point of this, and why would you do this? And the feature was that obviously it doesn't need air, it doesn't need to be monitored for air, and I'm thinking, well, what difference does that make? It's not as if air is costing them a lot of money, but it's the idea is for an autonomous car, so there's no driver, there's no owner, and they're saying this is much more easier to work with because nobody has to worry about is the tyres pumped up, is the tyres at the correct pressure, because nobody owns it, it just drives itself and picks people up here, there and everywhere. So obviously this is going to be a feature of autonomous cars going forward, that they're going to have airless tyres on them. Just to keep reminding you that, again, great training event coming up now on the 2nd and 3rd of April in the RDS, the Auto Inform event, previously held in 2019 in Cork. Just to give you a background on what this is about, this is coming to you via an organisation called OESAA, which stands for Original Equipment Suppliers Aftermarket Association. So what you have is you've got a group of OE suppliers who have come together and said, right, we need to try and assist and inform the trade. We need to get information and knowledge out to the trade, and that's what this event is about. Those brands are bringing their experts, their in-house experts, their trainers to Dublin, to the RDS on the 2nd and 3rd of April to give you the knowledge that they have about their products, how to install them, how to use them, and any other information that's relevant to you. But also mixed in with that as well is business seminars. You know, it's not just about the hands-on mechanical side of the business. Partly mixed into that is business seminars as well to assist you in running your business better. So, you know, keep that in your diary. Tickets are on sale there now for it. So try and come along if you can. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, and please, if you could, like, comment and subscribe. Thank you.